Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Blank Pages with our special guests, Nikki Jefford and Wendy Higgins. We're going to talk about being YA authors in a chili pepper world. Welcome, ladies.
Yes, welcome. So
Yeah,
good to have you guys
for
here.
having
Hi.
us.
We're
It's
very
lovely
excited
to
have you.
see you. Could you guys just start by giving a little bit of an intro so that our audience who hasn't met you yet can get an idea of how long you've been in the industry and all that good stuff?
Yes, go ahead, Nikki.
Okay, let's see.
I've heard of the wolves first.
I'm over here sweating. I need to calm down.
Yeah, I published my first book in February of 2012. So I think this is going to be the 12 years. Oh my gosh, I'm losing track.
Yes, that's amazing.
And it was a YA series, and then I wrote another YA series. Yeah, and then I kind of ventured off into new adult and coming back to YA, which I think is going to be part of our topic tonight. And
Yes.
I'm going to pass it on to Wendy now.
Wait, you just skipped over like the biggest thing here, our friendship. I mean, you could just pass over that? Like the
Hello,
world-changing event of
That's
us
right.
becoming friends.
Stacy and I are soul sisters.
Aww.
We used to meet up regularly
God.
in Washington State. I called Stacy the city girl, and I was the country mouse coming from a small
Even though
town.
I'm from actually a farm, but that's okay.
That's true. That's right. But I think of you as a San Francisco, Seattle hip chick who would be like, oh, let's go have sushi and show me these really amazing restaurants where I ate the best food ever. And I'm like, wow, this is so much nicer than Papa John's on a Friday night.
I think during that time, both of us, we were just starting out. I was only a year behind her. We were such each other's sounding board. We were such each other's there was so much going on and we were struggling and stuff like that. And it was so nice to have somebody that was going through the journey with you. And we were like, oh my God.
Online?
We kind of met
Tinder?
through another friend. Yeah, Tinder. It was Tinder.
Tinder for authors.
It was through another friend that eventually we no longer speak to, but immediately we just clicked. We were just like, we are so alike, and this friendship's gonna be we're in it, So yeah, we used to meet up all the time just to go over like marketing and what was changing. So it was so nice to have that kind of friendship where we were just friends outside, but we also could really relate and talk. So yeah, I just had to, put that in there because I'm like, hello.
Just real quick. Stacy came to, I think it was it was a Romance Writers of America type of thing going on in Bellevue or somewhere. And she said, do you want to meet there? Meet in a safe public place in case she was like single white female. No. So I said, yeah. And I drove there and met her, and we actually ended up totally playing hooky from the conference and just over in restaurants. We had our own conference.
Never.
You had your own little convention.
And then my connection to Wendy was like, I was just starting out. Like, I don't even know if Darkness of Light was out. And I was still like doing working in home staging. And I was working, and she was the first person to follow me back on Tinder because I was starting my author account. And
on Tinder?
Died. No, not Tinder, Twitter. Sorry. Tinder. I'm a Tinder thing today. I was like, Twitter. You followed me, the first author to follow me on Twitter, and I died. I was laying on the floor, and my boss is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like,
"Knew that."
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Twitter back in the day. I was like, "Ooh, anyone who was a book person." I was like, "Yes, I want to follow all the book people." That's so funny. I love that.
Yeah, you were my first fangirl because I'd read all your books. I was like, "Oh my God!" So thank you for that. Now we'll go to you.
I literally never knew that you read all of my books either. That's so cute. All right. So I'm a hybrid author. I started with HarperCollins. I was published same year as Nikki. 2012 was my first book, Sweet Evil. I had 7 young adult books with HarperCollins, and during that time, during the last of those few books, I started writing adult books that I self-published. And after that 12 years, now I'm going back to YA. So I started YA, went up to adult, and now back to YA. So it's been a crazy journey.
Do you guys think you'll go back to adults?
Possibly. Yeah.
So what made you guys decide, like, okay, I'm in YA and I know like the culture, everything was kind of changing toward NA. I remember when NA was like everywhere. So what, even in now the chili pepper like world, I feel even like what I write is pretty graphic and I still get like, oh, it seems like it's just like more and more and more and more. And so what makes you guys decide now, like what made you go, you know what, I'm going to go back to YA. This is my heart and soul, no matter what the chili pepper out there world telling me.
Yeah, heart and soul is a good way to say it. For me, it's just, I really realized it's my happy place. And I also took a look at what worked. And my just most popular series were YA. And those are the ones who still over and over again say they love those characters. I do not get that kind of love from my adult wolf shifter series at all. Like, and yeah, that's a nice feeling. And I think it's a feeling of nostalgia. I think I'm having trouble with aging too. So it's a way to like feel like you have your whole life still ahead of you. I love that feeling. It's addictive. And it's funny because our readers kind of grew up and just, I think our writing kind of maybe grew up a little with them. And I have this weird thing going on where I feel like I'm circling back where the hot chili pepper stuff for me, I don't know, like this is probably not gonna be popular, but it kind of bores me. I've just find myself like skimming those parts and I don't know like if this is a new stage in my life where I just feel like I really love the flirting and the build up now. That's more exciting to me. Like that's the first time in my life where the past few years where I was just skimming over the I don't know, sexy parts where it's just like, okay, let's get back to the story. And so that's I don't know, that's part of it for me.
When I first started writing, it was when Twilight was, oh gosh, that's when Twilight was huge. And one of the things that drew me to Twilight was that tension between them, that just sort of innocence of the characters. And I find that tension to be super, super like compelling. And I just, that's the tension is what I go for. Even in my adult books, I've had people say, this isn't like a romance because they don't even really get together until, but it was post-apocalyptic. So there's all the post-apocalyptic things happening. And then there's all the tension building up between them because that's what I like. And people, were like, but they're not doing it all in book one. And I'm like, oh God, I know. I'm really like all about the tension. And some other people love that. And some other people don't want that. But like Nikki said, like, once that tension is broken, then you have to find other ways to keep my attention. So yeah, I loved that tension that was in YA, but I grew up and I found my readership growing up. So I was 32 when I wrote my first book. By the time I was in my like mid to late 30s, I was going through that crazy older 30s libido through the roof thing. And I was like, I gotta write I wrote books under a pen name because I didn't want my mother-in-law finding out about them. And, so I have my 2 books and a novella of super spicy under a pen name, along with my adult books, which were sexy. But I think that right now, dark, like trigger warning books are like everybody's hungry for those. And I am not good at writing those. Like I wrote those, but only because I was in that crazy stage of my life. So it's like that, it's like a seasonal thing. Now I find myself with a 17-year-old daughter who I'm very close to, and we talk to about everything. And she's reading books that I am recommending to her from, back in the day. And I try to write my current story as NA age. And I just kept finding that my main character was slipping into kind of a similar personality and role of my daughter. And I was like, well, maybe that's what I need to do. I just need to go back to YA. I need to write this book for her, for us to have this lasting, and then, I can move on from there. But I feel like there's this whole group of teenagers and young adults who haven't don't have a whole lot of, there is a lot of YA coming out. There's always YA coming out, but it's not the huge thing that it once was. I mean, I've been hearing about high school girls reading like Haunting Adeline, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
like, oh, babies, no, hold on. Let's start here and move up to that.
Yeah,
like,
but to be fair, we were reading V.C. Andrews and like incest.
Yeah, that's true.
no,
like, to be
it's
fair.
true. I remember my little sister reading 50 Shades of Grey in like 11th grade, and I remember flying off the handle and being like, no, you can't read that. Yeah, you have to read that first.
Yeah. I love how both of you, and I think that this is going to speak volumes for why you're still here a decade later, is you're writing what you love. And it's very apparent that you're writing for yourselves as opposed to forcing something for a market that doesn't feel right because you think that there's money in it. Like, it's very apparent. And I think that's why you guys are such amazing authors, and why like you're still in the industry and haven't just hit burnout or haven't pieced out, is that you're literally like, it's very obvious that you're writing for yourself, and that's when you know that it's coming from the heart. So I personally love to hear that as somebody who looks at it from a business standpoint. Also, I personally love to hear that your 17-year-old daughter is reading and you're writing with her, because I have a daughter as well. She's only 8. So
Yes, my daughter
should
was
not be reading yours.
not yet.
Yeah,
but she signs them though.
My kids were a toddler, and my son was 9 months old, so I was still like getting up with him in the middle of the night when I was writing, that first book. And it's just so crazy how, like, you go through these seasons of life and it affects what you want to write and how you feel about stories. And I did go through a major slump because some of my books, my YA books that I wrote in the beginning were so popular and, hit the New York Times bestsellers list. And it was just this crazy dream, and I couldn't maintain that because the publisher didn't want any more of that from me. It was like right around the time that Trump became president and the Me Too movement. I remember it was like all these political things were happening, and it kind of changed the trend, and paranormal died, and issues books started becoming, people wanted to read about, all sorts of the big issues that were politically underlined. And then high fantasy blew up because people want to be as far away from that, reality on this side and then the high fantasy on that side. And I was like, where do I fit in here? Because I've never been good at writing for the trends. I've only been good at writing what I wanted. So I wrote a post-apocalyptic thing because that's what was in my head that I couldn't get rid of. And it pretty much tanked. And I just slowly found myself, falling off of the the readership, and my income was going down and I was losing motivation. And then the pandemic hit, and right before the pandemic, my husband and I split up, and it was all these huge life issues, and I lost all my creativity. So this is the first book I've written in over 3 years. And
what book is that? Can you tell us all about it?
The cover is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. It's called Rise of the Melody. It's about a siren, and it's Celtic and Gaelic folklore. So a lot of Scottish, like a bit more Scottish than Irish, I would say. So that's like the roots of the mythology, but it takes place in Maine. So it's like the coast of Maine on an island. It's just this small kind of spooky, foggy town. And I just really wanted to go back to the roots of what do I miss? Like, I miss those stories that felt like Riverdale and Vampire Diaries and that small town feel. And I was just like, I just want to just dive into that and hide in that for a while to try and pull me out of that funk. And it's been nice.
Yeah, Wendy actually just sent me her book, so we exchanged.
And I'm reading Nikki's. I just started Nikki's today too, so we exchanged books. We're so
it's crazy. I didn't realize how much of the same journey, very similar, that we're on, because I just finished my last series, which it's Wolf Shifter but with dystopian, because always want to do things differently. I want to be a rebel. I always have. I don't know what is wrong with me, but like, so if there's a trend, I want to do the not trend. So like, I should write a book on how not to run your author career. But
exact way.
and like, I'm just very, let my emotions get the better of me. I had some very close family deaths in my family that just completely derailed me. And I have since learned that, as you guys are always saying in your podcast, actually, because I've been watching them, this is a business. Aww. Yes. And I'm like, I have just gotten way more serious about having a schedule and productivity and not letting myself get derailed, because I swear the universe just throws one thing after another. I know it does for everyone, but sometimes I actually literally shake my fist up in the sky and go like, why? What did I do? Like, again, like, can I just have a little period of time to recover from the last thing that you just did? But anyhow, I am very proud, because even when there's crazy, I've gotten to this point, I've never been this way in my life. Like, Stacy knows how ADHD I am. We'd get together for like to write, and she's like, oh my God, I have never met anyone who could not sit still for the least amount of time as you.
So, she's like, I don't know why I'm not getting enough writing down. Like, literally, she's up like every 4 minutes. I'm like,
like, I can't write with other people. Like, I do writing retreats with people, and we're all sitting in the room with our laptops, and I'm literally like looking around at everybody like,
I don't write the best. I'll say I don't write the best.
What are you writing over there? What's going on? Like, I can't. It's the ADHD thing too for me.
Yeah. I'm the one
Nikki,
drinking at the writer's retreat. I'm just drinking. I'm cheering you guys on.
I'm like, I just want to talk.
So, but Nikki, you got really excited.
Cheers.
Like, it was the first time I felt like with this last time on this news story that you really got excited to start writing again too. Really, I felt like you kind of got down where like, I'm
like obsessed. Completely obsessed. Like, it's
and
all I learned.
You didn't tell us what it's about.
I actually just like less than 2 hours before this podcast got the paperback proof arrived. Can I show it?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. Like, my husband has my camera on blur, so I'll see if I can get it to like show.
Put it in front of your face. Yeah.
Oh wait.
Nope. Okay.
Oh my gosh! It's a mystery.
Spellcast. What is it? What is it called?
It's
Spellcaster.
There,
right there.
It's so pretty. It's so Spellcaster wild card. For those of you who can't
like
see.
Up close, it has the like the astrological signs, right?
And what's right? Yeah. So what sign are you?
Guys, Libra.
A Libra. What are you guys?
I love justice.
You're a Taurus. I'm a Capricorn.
I won't say because mine gets judged a lot.
Are you Scorpio?
No, Gemini.
Gemini has a better judgment than a Scorpio.
I'm a Cancer.
Yeah. I love that we're a mix. So Spellcaster wild card.
I changed the title at the last minute because it was called Spellcaster Season 13, which I thought sounded so awesome. Like, and then my mom pointed out that people would think that they missed season 1 through 12. And I was like, I do not need to be like hurting myself any more than I already do in this business.
So give us a summary.
Okay, so it'd be like, have you guys watched The Voice, the singing competition?
Know of it.
Okay, or know of it? Yeah, so I kind of based it's this competition, but it's magical, but I based it kind of a similar structure as The Voice, where there's 4 coaches and they have teams, and you do a blind audition. Instead of a 4-chair turn, you're trying to get like a wand lift, and there's kind of a screen they can't see, but it's like usually been of humans. The coaches are different paranormal. So there's like Malachi Rain, who is my book boyfriend, vampire coach. Cleo Killian, who's kind of a bitchy witch. There's Brody Morgan, who's a werewolf coach. And then there's Zen Renko, who's actually a human coach. But anyway, it's usually been they have humans come compete. Like, anyone can do magic as long as you can afford a wand, but it has to be made out of the rarest wood in the world. You have to be able to afford it. Anyhow, they decided to do their very first creature season ever, season 13. So every contestant is going to be it just has to be either a vampire, witch, wizard, or werewolf. And then my character, she starts out human and her family is attacked. It's very horrific. My editor said she would have recommended it to her younger niece if it wasn't so violent. I'm like, I just cannot win. Like, okay, I finally made it so like parents won't complain about like sex, but now it's like too violent. Okay, whatever.
While their kid plays video games and everything's blowing up and dying on it, yeah.
Think about the 10-year-olds that were reading Hunger Games. Like these kids are way more mature in what they're reading than we give them credit for. But
I think they can handle it. So there's a bit of a violent attack, and the main character gets changed. I don't like to say this, but she gets changed into a zombie because I mean, it's not a zombie book, so I don't want people to think of it as a zombie book. So I don't mention that word in the book description.
Undead, right? Undead?
Yeah, but it's like, I wanted it to be one of those like total, I love underdogs, one of those total underdog stories, and the just bias against and everything she has to overcome, everything she's gone through. And also just that there's 3 kind of love interests, and just also that they're having to deal with, she's kind of like seen as a leper, but she's also just amazing. She's just so brave, so bold. She's beautiful. She's talented. And they're all having to deal, like everyone feels like that, just that feeling, when you're team with the whole world's against you. I love that. Like, but you're just overcoming all of this, but also they're having to deal with that they like her and are attracted to her, and it's like, dudes, you gotta just like get over this. And I don't know, it's just I'm really obsessed. I'm so excited about this.
I love it. I definitely want to give a copy to my daughter Autumn, because like we talked about how she was like, why aren't there really very many like zombie books? And so I want to give her a copy of that because she loves to see a twist on things. And I love her generation, and that we're writing for her generation, because those like Gen Xers they do not put up with any crap. Like even just in 10 years, the crap that I used to put up with 10 years ago, like my daughter would never put up with that from anybody. So I just love writing this like these strong kids who are so open-minded about things, like, and their parents' generation were still kind of like, oh, I don't like sirens. And, these characters are just like, sirens are so cool. And, so it's fun. I'm excited too.
You both still have romance threads, but they're YA.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm excited. And there's no spiciness, right? Or is there?
It's a lot of like sexual tension, a lot of
angst.
Like a little angst, a little touch can be like, oh God, my whole body was on fire. Like those like little things you have to really focus in on.
Well, I just always laugh, like the girls that like, I mean, the spice, chili peppers, I need more and more. We'll watch something like Pride and Prejudice and him just brushing her hand, or like him clenching his fist, and they're like,
you're like Bridgerton, where they do the pinky touch, and you're like,
and they're all dying over that one. I'm like, wait, like that gets, like I thought over here you were saying I need chili peppers, but then I die if he just clenches his fist. So I think there's a huge market out there that is not on TikTok, or we're not seeing on TikTok, that is feeling like you guys. That's like, I still love these stories. I still want them. So that's why I hate trends, because there's never anybody that's
on
just
TikTok,
one thing.
Yeah, on Book Talk, there is a lot of young adults still. I mean, Light Lark was very viral.
And I just read book 2 of that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know book 2 came out. I'm following her. My head has just been in the sand as I'm juggling a million things and a half. Before you guys came on, I told Colleen, I feel like I've been dragged by a car, and I lift my head up and I'm like, oh, everything's good. But yeah, so there's definitely a massive audience, and this is needed. I mean, before reading spicy romance, all I read was YA and women's fiction, and we do still need these books. Even the spicy romance authors,
right?
Or the spicy romance readers, they still need it. 1 billion.
I call it my palate cleansers. I love my palette cleansers.
Mine are the
I
short
need them.
ones that are my I
Yes.
need like something short and like very over the top and sweet to cleanse my palate because YA will get you. YA has me sobbing more than romances do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're
See, I
not
like it.
guaranteed. You're not guaranteed that happily ever after. And I've read my share of God damn it. So
I feel like with romance too, that you kind of had to have okay, this guy and this woman are gonna end up together. That's how I just kind of felt like when I was writing my Wolf Shifter series, because people just want to know, okay, this is the guy, this is the woman. Where I feel like with YA, there's more playroom of, like love triangles probably aren't. I don't never know if they're popular or not, but like it feels like there can be multiple love interests without being reverse harem. Like that, it's like, ooh, who's she gonna end up with? Like, and with the two I did before, well, especially the first one, I did also a magic. Spellbound was my first YA series, and I didn't know, I wasn't sure who she was gonna end up with. This one, and there was two. This one, there's three. I don't know who she's gonna end up with. It's just better if I don't, because then
I love that.
I can discover, and I feel like there's more of a mystery and more of a like that when you are growing up and you're like, ooh, I like that guy, but I also like that guy. He's cute, but he's funny, but he's like cocky, but I like it. Like, and it's not, you don't have to stick to like, okay, these two. And I don't know, to me, that's very exciting and fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I can tell you that I tried to get an agent for this book to try and see if I could go traditional, only because that's the path I was used to with my young adult books. And I could not get anyone to, granted, I only did a small submission. It was like 6 agents. And I was like, oh, they're not interested. I just did not have the energy to go do the big, huge thing. I feel like I've been so fragile these past 3.5 years that I'm just like, okay, it's okay that they don't like it. It's okay. So I'm like, so it's strange also to think of self-publishing this young adult, because I had never done that before. And like Nikki said, it's a business. And I'm like, I've always been bad at that aspect of it. That's probably another reason why my other series tanked, is because I don't know how to market it properly. So I should probably take some lessons or something.
I don't know. Go ahead,
there are certainly a number of YA, and I'm kicking myself right now because I cannot remember. There are 2 people who I follow on Book Talk, and they follow me back. I love them. I've watched their entire journeys. The assistant to the villain's assistant.
Oh, Hannah.
Hannah, thank you.
Yeah, I met Hannah. Yeah,
very
Hannah.
sweet.
Love that book.
And she was self-publishing. These newer authors who are in the YA realm were self-publishing YA and got picked up. And I don't know any of the details about any of her contracts or anything of that nature. But there's definitely something to be said for self-publishing and then it being picked up or it going somewhere. I prefer, as I think everybody here probably knows, that I love the indie. I love the self-published realm. So I'm always happy to help if you have any questions.
Yeah. And I think once you discover how much power you have in doing that yourself and knowing that I don't have to be forced to market this way, and they don't even market for you anymore.
No,
so
they don't market. The only benefit really is that it gets into the stores. And so I keep thinking about my daughter and how she loves to go into the bookstores and browse the books. She doesn't ever get on Amazon and browse books.
You can get on Barnes and Nobles without. I'm in Barnes and Nobles. I don't have a house. Yeah.
Well, you can't. I know. Like if I self-publish this, a random Barnes and Noble is not going to be like, oh, I want to pick this up and put this in. Like when you publish with a publishing house, like my Sweet Evil series, as soon as they were published, like that day, they were in 90% of the bookstores in the United States. So I knew that my teen readers could go there and get it. And I'm just worried that it will be harder to reach my target audience. That's why I am going to be trying to do TikToks and things like that. Like, oh Lord, these girls don't want to see this old lady on there trying to be cool.
Hey, we're all on there.
Yes. You can also send it to the book talkers as well. Like if you're seeing them and enjoying a genre, you could say like direct, like, hey, I thought you might like this. My gift to you.
Oh my
And
God.
just get it in their hands and
nervous.
let it take a life of its own.
But Wendy, that never
I'm
goes
so
away.
bad
I
at
mean, like,
this.
I'm awful at this. That's why I have people that help me, because I'm awful at it. Yeah. We have to,
She
that's the
says,
problem.
do what you think I should do. Okay. Just don't ask questions.
Yeah, I've been watching marketers and just like not just for book, but for just all kinds of things. 'Cause I think you can learn bits and pieces that can apply to all kinds of businesses. And they were saying really the trend that they're looking at for 2024, that your money is, they feel like, better spent on influencers. So
I think
kinda
it's
like
been,
what Stacey was saying, is like getting those books into their hands, not worrying about having to.
some influencers though
Yeah,
are
not all.
insanely priced.
Yeah.
Well, even
Like-
like the going rate for some influencers and like smut talk. I'm like, how did you guys come up with this number? Like,
Wow. This is
Yeah.
a thing? I didn't even know this
oh,
was
it's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing. There's been controversy with it, and also they're not, a lot of them are very young, so they're not experienced with the ups and downs of social media and the changes that other things can affect for ROIs. So they're just slapping a price on it that might have worked for 21 or 22, but we're in 24 now.
Yeah.
And
And
the
things have
algorithm has
changed, yeah.
changed, the saturation has changed. And it's got to be difficult to adjust, especially when you haven't experienced something like that. So I go with the wind of it. I'm like, here we go. We're on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Let's find out what's going to happen. My hands are in
That's
the
why
air
I
and
think
my mouth is closed.
so many people think like, like we're supposed to know what we're doing. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, none of us do. Most of the time I'm just throwing stuff out and going, well, try this, try that, try this. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
it
one of
does.
these
It
will stick.
changes every single day, every
Yeah.
single day. And what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. So
Year to
it's just,
year, it's massively different. So being out of the game for 3 years, there's definitely this fear of like being left behind. Like I definitely got left behind, and now I'm
Oh, I
trying
feel like roadkill.
to track up. Wait,
Yeah. I too
But
feel
you
like
guys are
roadkill,
still
just a different
here.
reason.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you guys never gave up. Like there's a lot of people that
You don't know
were,
I'm
like,
here, but I'm still here.
yeah. But I think that there's a lot of people that gave up and just, disappeared. There's I can handful of authors that I'm like, wait, they used to be huge and they totally just gone.
I just heard you guys
Like,
talking about that on your podcast with Alessandra Tor.
Mhm,
And I was thinking, and Stacey, you and I talked about that a little bit. I think one thing that hasn't happened to me is I haven't had burnout, but that's not like a good thing because it's like I have not been like keeping on stuff. And I'm with Wendy, like I'm just now getting my trying to get my social media game on because I've just been horrible. I've been lazy. I've been like, I blame it on ADHD, but really it's just me being lazy. Like that, I call it drive-bys. What I do is just like post something on my own stuff, not engage, just be like, I don't know, being on a screen drives me crazy. I'm already on the screen all the time with work. That's all I am. Like, so just also then having to be on my phone on a screen, it just like, it's so hard. Like, it's so hard to sit here and scroll and look. And like, I just start to get crazed.
and
I just want to get outside and get a hike and get some fresh air.
Yeah. I find as an introvert, it's really exhausting to try and go on and social media and, put on a certain presence and try and engage people. And it's so not just about writing. There's so much more to it. The whole, you want to like people, and I'm just like, you want people to like you and to have banter with them. And I'm just like, oh my gosh,
I cheat.
hard. It's a
Do
lot.
you want to know a thing that I do?
Yeah.
I pretend I'm messaging my friend Kirsten every time I do a TikTok. I'm like, just so you know, this is like, and it's literally, I'm talking to a friend. And then one day you wake up and there's a whole bunch of friends that all want to hear exactly what Kirsten wants to hear. So that's my little tip, that if you have to get on and you actually have to talk like you're talking to your friend.
Yeah.
No, it's
She's the only one here that likes doing this stuff.
I do. I love it. I literally, Yeah.
I've noticed like the more you get in it, the less writing actually becomes like, at first when you first start, it's 90%, like you're, and then all of a sudden the more I've noticed I'm moving up, the less the writing that gets pushed, all of a sudden I'm like, it's becoming about all this other stuff about marketing and TikTok and all that other stuff than writing. I'm like, when do I write? Can I write?
Finding the
And
balance.
then I see stuff that makes me feel bad about where I'm at, like, because I've been living in a like fantasy bubble where I just am not paying attention. Now suddenly I have to face like, oh wow, I really am just like, roadkill, like I said.
Yeah. Our industry is often like compared to athletes because of the burnout and because of the high highs, and then boom, you're out of it. And the tech industry, because again, high highs and then like that.
Burnout,
Yeah. And you really do have to move with all of the ebbs and the flows. And what, like 6 years ago, it was Facebook groups and hopping into everybody else's group if you could. Then it was the
parties, I
bloggers.
remember.
Yeah, parties. Then it was the bloggers on Facebook. Then it was Facebook ads. And then it was Instagram ads too, if you could figure it out. And then it was TikTok. And then it's your own organic socials. And then it's the influencers. And now like everything is constantly moving. And it's exhausting. But if you keep writing for yourself and you try to find your little hacks to stay with it, I think it really can be amazing. Like, I think that we're kicking the asses of some of these athletes, right? Like 12 years ago, name an athlete who's still out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's probably Tom Brady. Is he still doing his thing?
I think probably.
Like, I think probably. Yeah.
But I think deep down, all of us that really show, if you just not write to trend, if you just keep writing for your soul, no matter, like, it might struggle, it might not always do. And there's ebbs and flows, like no matter what, I'm, 1 month I'm going to be high. The next year I'm like half what I was, or whatever it is. It's just, but if you keep just fighting and going, okay, this is what I want to do, these are the stories I want to tell, I think you're going to be able to stay in longer than if you're just doing this for the money. I think that's
highs as in ranking, not the original. I was like a whole year to be high, like Stacy.
I would be a lot happier person. I'd be like my one, I'd be like Bitsy, just like, flipping everybody off.
Oh my gosh.
Are there any places on social media that you would prefer our audience to follow you?
I use the same name everywhere. It's just Nikki Jefford, my name. I don't have any like author, book, or anything in there. It's just like that, and it's the same thing everywhere. I'm trying to challenge myself to do an Instagram every single day for, I don't know, 100 days. I don't know, like.
You can hire people to take photos too, or just post your book, or there's all sorts of fun things that you can do on Instagram. If you're not ready to show your face or you don't want to talk, just putting that out there.
You're good at it.
Okay.
You're good at it. You just need to just push yourself.
I need to make it.
I'm not good at it, and you are.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not consistent. That, I guess I should say, that's my kind of New Year's goal, is to be actually. That's my problem, is I'm not consistent, and I'll just go MIA for a really, really long time. I'm like, oh, this happened, that happened, so I need to just take some time to, like, whatever, chill. But yeah, that's. So I'm Instagram. I am getting onto the TikTok. I've seen Wendy getting on there too.
Yeah.
And figuring it out, like an old lady who's just like, oh,
I swear it's fun. I promise you guys, you're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
It used to be kind of fun when I was like, okay with looking at myself on a video, but now like I turn on the video, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I do this.
I use filters.
I used to look like this.
I'm like, yo, the fact that I curled my hair for this, believe it or not. So
I did the waiver. I got my waiver out.
Okay, so my socials, I actually hired somebody to start doing TikToks for me, and I'm like, holy crap, this is a lot. Like, because she does one every day, Monday through Friday, so 5 a week, and I'm just like, this is so many posts, like, it's crazy. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all as Wendy Higgins Writes.
I love it. I love it. Also, those
And
TikToks.
I like to interact with people. If people follow me and I can see that they're obviously a book person, I want to follow them back. If somebody comments to me, I want to comment back to them. So I love that and interacting with people. So
the community. Those, I do want to also point out that those TikToks work great as Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. And I don't want you guys to miss out on YouTube. They're definitely.
I just read about YouTube Shorts, I just watched on YouTube about YouTube Shorts, and I was
yes,
like,
Colleen, I'm getting on it.
Another thing. Yeah.
I've been after someone about doing that too.
So much. It's just all the time.
So much.
I'm getting with the times. With writing YA, Wendy's probably the same. Like, I mean, I was like, oh, that's right. Like, this was weird, but I had to be like, okay, social media. So I've got her, like, I call it Jingle Jam rather than TikTok in my book. And so, yeah, there's like posts and comments. So I feel very like trendy. Like, I mean, is in up with the times for a change in this book. It was weird because there weren't even flip phones when I was in high school. So
we're not going back that far. Like,
I think there's a flip phone reference in my first book, and I've been like begging the publisher, can I please redo this? And like,
just pretend it's the new wave of them. I remember
they're trendy now.
There is a new one.
Yeah, it's like the,
and we're all
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And we're all talking like,
I just updated Aurora Sky Vampire Hunter because I had flip phones and other things, and I'm like, I need to not date myself here. And then I also they were drinking wine coolers. My mom's like, no one drinks wine coolers anymore. Even my mom's more hip than me.
Your mom's hipper than you.
Yeah.
I
like, you better get that.
Coolers.
She's like, get the wine coolers out of there.
Now?
Like,
whenever my Aunt Sandra comes over, I drink wine coolers.
Okay.
I didn't know they still made them.
I didn't know they made them either.
They're still yummy. They're yummy. I mean, a White Claw is a White Claw, but if she's here, we'll do wine coolers. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We sound so golden girls, ladies.
up to date, hip with the times.
Gosh, yeah.
Just doing that show is like, no.
Book so she can pick out all the like places where she sounds old and be
all
like, no, we got to change this.
That's funny because all of mine, I don't explicitly say it, but the majority of mine are written in like the 90s. Like whenever they get a script, it's on paper. There is no Alexa. I mean, you can't write a mafia romance and have Alexa. Like you're going to jail. You're very much, you are going to jail. Amazon heard that. Like,
that's funny.
Yeah. Well, it has been absolutely fabulous having you guys on. Yeah, guys, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, and go find our authors here on Instagram. Make sure that they're posting.
And hopefully by then some of them will be coming out. These books will be ready, hopefully, by the time this airs.
And if not, you could totally binge read their entire back catalog also.
Yes.
Yeah. There's just 12 years worth of books. Yes.
Yes, we have. They're out there.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
for
for having
having
us.
Bye.